Hi everyone, my name is Toby and I'm a photographer here in Atlanta, and I just wrote an article for the Georgia Voice about the drag scene in Atlanta. I call it Memoirs of the Atlanta drag scene. Anyways, I suggest you take and grab a bottle of wine because it's only 6 pages long, and I'm just feeling my oats today. Not really. I just really wanted to do this in video. That way, if you don't want to read it, you don't. But if you want to hear me, you can. Or you can read it and then watch the video. Or watch the video and then read it. And that way you can oh, that's how Toby talks. Very gay. Okay. Anyways, so here we go. Let me have a sip. And here we go. So I'm reading, and I'm just going to let you know that I am ESL, and most of the time when my friends don't understand me, they just nod and smile, or just say poppers, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's great. Okay, here we go. When the Georgia Voice reached out to me to write about the Atlanta drag scene, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, that's a lot, and how much space can I get? We live in a city that has an extraordinary amount of talent and all kinds of performance styles. Writing a guide is a difficult endeavor because they are in constant flux and also interconnected. When friends from out of town ask me where to see drag, the first question I ask is, what kind of drag are you wanting to see? In reality, drag is all over the city and boosts a distinct structure. If my friends respond asking for clarification about kinds of drag, I suggest, for example, the Midtown, East Atlanta, Village, Drag Race, Campy Drag, Drag King, Circuit Scene, Dining Experience like Lips, amongst many others. I give the general picture to gauge what they want to experience. As I discuss in this article, one of the styles or scenes does not necessarily exclude others. In fact, you will find many of the entertainers within particular scenes often intertwine with more general city scene. That's a fact. Most of the action and shows happen within the Midtown area in Atlanta. For over a decade, Midtown has been the gay center of Atlanta, complete with a rainbow crosswalk. Recently, it has become more gentrified, but still provides a robust amount of drag shows. Bars like Blake's in the Park, Midtown Moon, MSR, France on Ponce, X Midtown, or 10 Midtown, Oscars, Felix, Marquee Lounge, Heretic, BJ's, Sequel, and Mix have provided a space for entertainers to perform. When I think of Midtown Queens, I think of camp, pageant, edgy, trendy drag, and that's just the tip of it. No pun intended, but I love the tip. Love the tip of everything. It's the best part. Blake is where most of folks go to see shows like Celeste Holmes' Celestial Fridays, House of Brooks, or Supersize Sunday Show, hosted by Edie Cheeseburger, which include a plethora of diverse entertainers, including Atlanta icons Raquel Lord and Shauna Brooks. Across the street is 10 Midtown, or X Midtown, which before COVID held a few shows such as Industry Night, usually hosted by Mona Lott, Raquel Hart, and Tristan Panucci. If you head out to the Ansley Mall area, you will find yourself surrounded by bars. For example, at Midtown Moon, you will always find a drag or entertainer at most any point of the day. When I first moved to Atlanta, I was in the square many times, where I was really introduced to the Atlanta drag scene. Other shows I have seen here include Phoenix's Dancing Floor Divas, Brigitte Bidet's Tossed Salad, The Other Show, Divas of the Moonlight, Madams of the Moonlight, and the Ruby Red Show. Across from the Moon, you will find Oscars, which has hosted many drag events, and shows like Sherry Jubilee, and Felix's with Lady Grace Jueves Caliente, and Modeste Vulgaire, Wild Out Wednesday. I want to focus on Edie Cheeseburger's The Other Show, who I consider to be my drag family. The Other Show started with a group of newer performers focused on types of drag, art, and performance that were different from the mainstream. The show started over 5 years ago after Edie won a local competition, Phoenix's Dragnificent Dragnique. Hosted by Edie Cheeseburger and Jay Lish, the other show has had international recognized castmates such as Violet Chachki, Season 7 winner on Drag Race, Aboro, winner of Drag Queen of the Year, Bitch Pudding, Season 2 Dragula winner, and Chameleonic Eva Destruction. You can find the other show online on Friday nights at 9 p.m. until the pandemic is over. Yeah, this pandemic sucks, by the way. All Out Wednesdays, hosted by Modeste Bulgare and Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia, which had a few locations before the pandemic, is now online and truly something you don't want to miss. They are hysterical and always pushing the boundaries, getting wild with entertainers from the city and all over the country. That sounds like a PR ad, doesn't it? Or a docket like that. I don't know. You tell me. Okay, I'm going to continue. Not too far from the Midtown scene area is the Circuit nightclub scene. This type of drag had a huge impact on me when I was coming out in the early 2000s because I frequently these venues. To best describe it, imagine yourself at a club listening to some amazing trance remix of your favorite song, and all of a sudden, lights go out, fog is pumped in the air, another song you love starts, the lights are turned on, and there before you is a queen with a sparkling gag-worthy outfit, giving you a choreographed dance to the beat of that incredible song. Do not forget that during that performance, there is a light show with lasers and strobe lights. When it finishes, the queen disappears, either with another blackout or slowly fades along with the song. If you remember Jungle, you might have an idea of what it's like when Phoenix or Kira Moore performed. Shout out also to a nightclub called Brothers in Tallahassee, Florida. Boop. Anyways, you can experience this at events at the Heretic as well as events with Keith Young, responsible for GA Boy Productions, Zion, Peach Party, and soon to open downtown, a Future. This will be hosting world acclaimed DJs, weekly drag cabarets, and the Fantasy Girls, hosted by Phoenix. Let me get a break. Cheers. Another drag scene that I am a huge fan of is the one coming out of East Atlanta Village, sometimes referred to as the Village Queens, known for including many variations of performances and entertainers. Ground zero for me in this scene is Memoirs. Shout out to Mary's. An amazing establishment named Best Gay Bar in the US by Logo and one of the top 50 gay bars in the world by Out Magazine. Mary's is a neighborhood bar which has been home to many talented performers. They are edgy, punk, alternative, and retro with passion and statements in their performances. Their energy is insane. Many of the times I stop to see a show, I am moved and inspired. Shows like Girlfriends and Glitz have also showcased many queens that are both well-known or just starting out. And shout out to Alyssa Rex, because she's hosted a bunch of these shows, and I just love her so much. Hold on, one more sip. Other drag scenes that I'm greatly intrigued by and that have been immensely influential in my gay milieu and in general are Ballroom, Stars of the Century, and Pageant. Once again, Atlanta is a huge hub for these particular styles of drag. Although they are their own separate subculture, their entertainers intermingle with each other. For example, Stars of the Century, one of the longest running shows in Atlanta, has had multiple homes, but it's usually on Mondays. The last venue that hosted this epic show was the Heretic. I was able to have a conversation with Tasia Thomas, well-known drag entertainer in the city, to try to capture the essence of these scenes. Stars of the Century is glamour, impersonations, illusions, pageant girls, and truly glam entertainers. Tasia mentions that it is also cutthroat, perhaps because everyone is looking to see that you are giving us live from head to toe, honey. When I asked Tasia why there is so much love and admiration for the show, she said that many have been fans of these entertainers for decades, having grown with them as they won or lost pageants and created a name for themselves. In short, they are family. Ballroom scene is an entity of itself, created back in the 80s. This is a space where people walk the runway in various categories, including mixed performance, dance, lip sync, and modeling. The house ballroom community is not all about drag. Although drag is present, it definitely does not define the scene. Nevertheless, many queens, kings, and pageant entertainers have emerged from it. I need something to drink. When you go to a ball, most of the time it's like going to the Met Gala, and everyone looks amazing as they judge you on how you present yourself, especially if you're walking a category. An amazing part of the ballroom scene are the ballroom houses, which get notoriety based on how their members walk the runway and how many trophies they attain. Some are well known, such as the House of Balenciaga, Maserati, Gucci, La Beja, Extravaganza, etc., etc. Honey, there are 4 levels one can achieve in the ballroom scene: star, statement, legend, and icon, the latter being the highest rank. Atlanta has some of the most legendary and iconic entertainers in the ballroom scene. For example, Raquel Lord, Mariah Paris Balenciaga, Nicole Love Dupree, amongst many others. Folks that go from stars of the century of ballrooms can be seen at places like Mix, Blake's in the Park, Marquee Lounge, Bulldog, and The Heretic. The pageantry system is the Oscars, Miss Universe, Miss Universo, Mr. Universe, or Golden Globes of Drag. Before RuPaul's Drag Race became what it is today, pageant girls were the celebrities as they traveled the country showing their talents. Atlanta has a huge pageant scene with its own aesthetic and standards. The entertainers are judged overall by what they present to their peers and panel of judges. A pageant girl is best described as poised with gorgeous gowns, amazing makeup, impeccable hair, and talent that gives you every single ounce of life, honey. Atlanta has quite a few well-known pageants: Continental, Georgia US of A, Georgia Entertainer of the Year, Black Universe, Westland, Sweetheart, Black America, and Renaissance. They all have different requirements, but as I said, winning these titles is like winning an Oscar. Because Atlanta has such a huge pageant presence, you can see these entertainers all over town in different scenes. To mention a few, some of the well-known pageant queens in town that I consider almost royal are Raquel Lord, Tamisha Iman, Nicole Love Dupree, Shauna Brooks, Celeste Holm, and Trinity K. Bonet. Although the list can go for days, girls and guys, or anyone, or my dog who's sleeping. There are also a few local pageants like Atlanta Pride Pageant, organized by Billy Ledford, the Joining Hearts Pageant, and Miss Edgewood. Another scene that I love is the camp scene. Camp is an aesthetic that appeals because of its bad taste or ironic value. It is fun, full of creativity, crazy, and exaggerated. There are 2 groups of drag in Atlanta that are a definition of camp for me: the Armorettes and the Possums. I spoke with John Jeffrey, a community leader who has been involved with the Armorettes, Possums, and the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. He states the Possums are a little different in that they are more what some would call booger drag. We're not trying to look like women. We're merely amplifying a look, a style, or an image of something that we try to put a form to or portray at that particular time. As it relates to the community, the Possums are a once-a-year thing that raise funds for the community. Our motto is doing good work through bad drag. The Armorettes can be described as closer to camp and humor drag queens that do not try to look like real women, but grab your attention with performances for HIV and AIDS charity fundraising. They have raised more than $2.2 million. I also mentioned the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Even though they are not technically drag, rather they are an order of the 21st century nuns dedicated to the manifestation of cosmic joy through a freedom of expression, charitable acts, community outreach, and social activism, according to their website. Let me have another sip. John mentioned that the goal of the sisters is to be community-based with a common white face and similar traits for a coronet. That's something that each house wears and that is unique. I hope that made sense. The Sisters are a community-based group started in San Francisco more than 40 years ago. The main connection between them and the Possums is that they raise money for community groups. Likewise, I want to highlight Woozy Magazine as well as Taylor Alexander and the House of Alexander for their roles in shaping the city. According to their website, Woozy is a Southern queer magazine based in Atlanta that encourages the discussion of politics, art, and expression from the perspective of Southern queers. Founded in May 2015, Woozy garnered a dedicated following of readers looking for a curated, singular, queer-centric point of view. Woozy has been nothing but an amazing force in this city, creating events, bringing issues to light, and showcasing impeccable artists. Woozy has hosted events all over Atlanta, covering a wide range of entertainment, as well as online content highlighting the happenings in the scene, current queer issues, and minority advocacy. Recently, they have launched a podcast called Good Judy for queer culture, art, and politics, hosted by two Atlanta queens, Allosaurus Rex and Bridget Bidet, that comes out every Tuesday. Woozy is growing exponentially throughout amazing collaborations with businesses, groups, and individuals all over the country. Taylor Alexander and their drag house are influential power brokers. Taylor started performing in drag in 2012. Alexander states, "Drag, for me, is a performance of exaggerated gender that anyone can participate in. When I started drag was an outlet for all my talents: music, hosting, graphic design, community organizing, and much more. Since starting drag, I have created 3 staple ATL shows: Amen, a monthly show at Sister Louisa's Church on Edgewood; Sweet Tea, a queer variety show; and Chug, a monthly drag show at Georgia Beer Garden on Edgewood. I'm also known for my work through Southern Fried Queer Pride, a queer arts organization and festival I co-founded in 2024. 2014. There is no 24. I am the current reigning best drag queen and best LGBTQ performer in Atlanta by Creative Loafing. My drag is everywhere, from do-it-yourself warehouse parties to your local bar to music arenas and stadiums." Taylor also gave me an insight of the house they created. Alexander states, "I started the House of Alexander in 2019. I already had a few drag children and drag family, but I wanted to create a drag house that really reflected what I love about drag. How it can be off kilter, kind of weird, but also political and community minded." One more sip. That is the kind of drag that moves me, and the kind of drag I have been making since I started. Since we started producing shows, we have done events like Suck a Punch, Drag Wrestling, Black Girl Magic with the Vixen from RuPaul's Drag Race, Friday night at the Bakery's Halloween night, and much more. Each member of the house is unique and infuses their drag with their own personal flair. As you see, the House of Alexander and Taylor Alexander, just like Woozy, are leaving a huge imprint in the scene, and I absolutely love that. In case you're wondering at the moment, the House of Alexander consists of Molly Runswell, SCN Alexander, Aries Alexanders, Ivana Alexander, Ruby Fiasco, and Kanzara SCN. So, I probably butcher your name, and I'm so sorry. You can butcher my face with kisses. Sorry. The drag king scene is also big in Atlanta. I recently chatted with one of my favorite kings, Percocet, who explained that the king scene is very diverse and it is expanding over time. I am happy to see it grow. It is definitely also my wish to see it grow exponentially. I see kings all over town, especially at Mary's, Sequel, My Sister's Room, and Midtown Moon frequently. Some of the best known kings in Atlanta are LJ Van Pelt, Mr. L.A., Arias Alexander, Channing Taint, Devin Liquor, and Davy Swinton. Again, if I butcher your name, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm very sorry. Again, give me kisses next time I see you, or a hug, because I need some, I miss them. I want to mention a few other important aspects of the drag scene. There are shows notorious for helping people start performing in drag. Friends on Ponds has a show called New Faces, created by the late Regina Sims, where people who are starting out showcase their drag. If you ask many performers, they will probably say, I did my first performance at New Faces. I should also mention that Amber Devine has a show called Divine Faces, which was in Doraville for a bit, but has recently changed locations. It showcases drag that you do not normally see in the city. That is no shade. There's just not shade. There's just, you see other queens from they're far, and that's their closest point. You know, and that like the city's a little bit intimidating. Random tangent. Anyways, let's go back to that. Everyone should also be aware of Ruby Red, who has various shows in town like Birdcage Bingo and Ruby Red Light District. Ruby is also a mother of various notorious queens in town. She does a lot for our community and has raised thousands of dollars for charity as well as her kids. A final drag scene that I am not closely familiar with, but see rising all over the country is bio queens, which are basically cis women who dress up in drag and perform like any other drag queen. If you Google it or look it up on Instagram, you will see many talented bio queens. I would love to see more popping out in Atlanta. I just would love it. Also worth mentioning is a cool and awesome type of drag scene called cosplay, in which entertainers wear costumes and fashion accessories to represent a character they love. The best time to see cosplay is during DragCon here in Atlanta. Oh, before I forget, let me not forget that you can also see more drag at a restaurant on Buford Highway called Lips. Here you will find many queens who work in the city and provide you with a fine dining cabaret experience, darling. Lastly, I want to mention a few other aspects of drag that might not be called a scene, but have nevertheless helped out Atlanta on the drag map. Charlie Brown, RuPaul, Lady Bunny, Bubby Delicious, RuPaul's Drag Race contestants like Phoenix, Nicole Paige Brooks, Sonique Trinity K. Bonet, Mariah Paris Balenciaga, Violet Chachki, and Dragula contestants like Abora and Bitch Pudding and Eva Destruction. All these queens were local queens and then achieved a national recognition and have shown the world what drag is in Atlanta. One more sip. If you have made it through the end of this article, I salute you. I thank you. Cheers, I salute you. Although I probably missed many aspects of Atlanta drag scene that I'm not aware of or forgot, I hope I was able to shine a light on aspects of drag scene that you did not know about. If I missed something, let me know by sending me a message on social media at @JustTobyMe. @JustTobyMe. For now, I will leave you with this. Atlanta drag scene is a magical and has so much to offer. I encourage you to see these entertainers, tip them, appreciate all the hard work they do to entertain us. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this. I know it was long and crazy, but if you want to share, that would be great. And thank you so much for your attention. And also, I'm wearing the glasses, so I don't look like I'm constantly reading from side to side. So it looks like I'm looking at you, but I'm not really looking at you, but I'm looking at the camera. I mean, I'm looking at the camera, right? I don't know. Cheers.